Lesson B1, Nature versus Nurture, Biology and Society. What makes us who we are? Our nature, our biological DNA, and the anatomy and physiology that drive us to eat and sleep and reproduce? Or the way we were nurtured by our family and society in general, and the experiences we have throughout our lives? What makes us different from one another? If society is made up of individuals and groups of people, then to begin our study of society, we have to look at what makes people behave the way that they do. Sociobiology is the study of how human social behavior is affected by their biology, socio or social biology. Doctors prescribe chemical treatments for depression, anxiety, and many other psychological conditions, indicating a belief that our brain chemistry can disrupt what we consider normal behavior. But some sociologists go further. Biological determinism is the general theory that who we are is mostly, if not completely, determined by biology. In this view, our genetics shape our anatomy and hormones, which give us certain basic instincts and needs, which we then act out depending on our environment. We tend to be anthrocentric, meaning we think the world revolves around humans and that we are very different from other animals, but we share much in common with other animals. Just look at the complex societies and social orders of ant colonies, which have specialized workers that hunt and take out garbage and even farm. But humans take social complexity to new levels, and we do so with the help of our biology. We have tongues that make complex sounds, like the words I'm speaking, and opposable thumbs that allow us to make and use precise tools, like the computer I'm recording on. There are other animals that have nimble thumbs and tongues, and even some that have very large and capable brains, but we are unique in having all of these together, which opens up some amazing possibilities. We've seen aspects of culture among chimp communities that pass down unique ways of life through the generations, but we've yet to see any other animal with the complexity of culture that we see amongst all human societies. We can use our tongues for language to describe our world and plan for the future. We've built on the knowledge of our ancestors to build cars and power plants and, yes, computers. Although we have the same instinctive drives as other animals, hunger and lust and anger, our culture gives us norms and values that change the way we react to those drives. Human culture grew initially to meet our biological needs. A snow fox is very well adapted to survive in a cold climate. They're born with thick fur and sharp teeth and instincts that help them stay alive. Human biology is best adapted for warm climates, and yet we've managed to survive in almost every habitat on Earth, and even outside of our planet. We've done so not with biological adaptations, but with cultural adaptations. We've learned from other people how to survive by making the warm coats and knives that we need and changing our behavior to suit the environment. Arguably, the most important and special aspect of human culture is language. A fox can teach its children some of what it needs beyond instincts, but the young fox must learn by watching, and can only take in a small portion of what its parent knows. It must then build on its own experience, and over each generation the total amount of knowledge never really grows. But humans can teach their children with words, describing situations and ideas that the child has not seen directly, allowing them to pass on far more of their knowledge. The child can then build on that knowledge, not just from its own experience, but also with the knowledge passed down from others in the community. Thus, the total amount of knowledge can increase with each generation, increasing the complexity of culture and our ability to survive. One person can learn from and teach many others, or even produce things that others need for them, so that society as a whole is capable of far more than any individual, and can adapt better and better without any biological changes. Cultural adaptations for survival have led to some cultural universals, which we see in almost every society. All human groups build shelters, cook food, and pass down some basic understanding of health and medicine. Every human society we've encountered has symbolic language as well, and uses these to identify individuals and recognize key social structures and rites of passage. Like sociobiology, functionalism sees these as essential structures for survival, but of society as a whole. But within these cultural universals we have in common, individuals within every society are unique. Sociobiology points out that no two sets of DNA are perfectly identical. Even identical twins such as Tia and Tamara Mowry show differences, which could be based on different environmental conditions that affect biology. But sociologists call attention to the crucial role of social interaction itself as a builder of personality. We'll focus on the process of socialization in the next module, but all it takes to see how completely the way we've raised can change our behavior is to see the sad cases of children raised without human interaction. A dog raised with humans never really adapts to human life, but your identical twin raised with dogs would adapt to dog behavior as a matter of cultural learning. But such cases, luckily, are rare, and most children are raised with human culture. So why, despite our common human biology and cultural universals, are whole groups of people different from one another? Sociobiology might say that from our origins in East Africa, we've settled in different parts of the world, and our biology has adapted to local environmental needs. If that's the case, then what kind of humans are there? We're often separated into different races of humans. Yet genetically, while we see some common visual differences between groups, some with lighter skin or rounder eyes or thicker hair, these represent a limited range of genes. They affect little beyond protections from direct environmental dangers, such as sun or cold. There is far more genetic variation within any one group than between groups. So while families from near the equator, on average, have darker skin than those from near the poles, there's a wide range of color and shape and other biological factors within any given group.